Hey everyone, this is the Kubeflow Notebooks working group meeting for the 26th of February 2026. There is we talk about lots of different components. We manage the dashboard notebook and notebooks V1 and V2 now. What is V2? V2 is not released yet, but it's very soon, hopefully, in an alpha form, which is a full rewrite of Kubeflow notebooks. It's really cool. It's got lots of new features. It has these three areas. We always are looking for more contributors and maintainers long term. If you have experience with these things, please reach out in the Kubeflow-notebooks channel, specifically Golang KubeBuilder for the controller. The backend is also written in Go. It's like a REST API that interacts with Kubernetes. And the front end is React and Node.js. And so if you've got those experiences, we always like people to reach out. There is a development guide if you want to just try out running it locally. There's one caveat which we need to fix, which is that it doesn't run the auth right now. That's because the auth is actually in a different component. So um, it's you'll see, but it should be enough to do some testing if you want to help out. If you have lots of experience and just know how to code, like we're really getting close to a release right now. So if you happen to be a Go or controller expert or something like that, please do reach out to us, like me and Andy directly, because we can give you tasks immediately, probably, or just if you really want to get some contributions in and potentially get contributor status immediately, that's a great way to do it, and we welcome those people. If you do want to say hi, I know that there's some people who haven't really introduced themselves on the call before. I don't know if Christian's had a chance to introduce himself. We added him as a member recently after contributing a lot to Notebooks to Dashboard mostly. So do you want to say hi, Christian?
Yeah, I can say hi quickly. So my name is Christian. I generally do a lot of open source, mostly around Linux distributions. And now I also happen to have a contracting gig and get to work on a Kubeflow instance there. And yeah, that is why I'm contributing, but all the contributions happen on my own time, so or most.
It's really good to have people who represent actual users of the product as well. Like it's critical that we get that feedback loop, and it's amazing when we find people who use and contribute as well, which is great. And so encourage that, and if you have problems, please tell us. Anyone else want to say hi? I know Alok has been working on some stuff. I don't, and
Hi
others as well.
everyone. Yes, I
Yeah,
was working on restructuring, but from few weeks I was busy in my exam, so I couldn't do much.
no, that's no. What I mean is like just you can say hi. I mean, I'm letting people introduce themselves if they haven't before. If you don't want to, it's fine too. Anyway, he's been working on stuff, and Akram has as well. We haven't merged his main PR yet, but thank you for raising that. Anyone else want to say hi?
Yeah, hi. I'm Digvijay. I am a G-Shock candidate and just exploring Qflow right now.
Cool. Are you wanting to contribute to things right now? Do you have what type of experience do you have?
Yeah, previously I have contributed to scientific computing libraries, and also I have experience with Golang and Docker Kubernetes
Okay, cool,
with
interesting.
internships. Yeah,
Which scientific computing library?
yeah, it's Monty Pi with IDEO National Labs
Were you writing the C component or were you writing the Python
uh,
component?
Python component.
Okay, interesting. Cool, just checking. Cool.
Yeah,
Awesome. Welcome. Anyone
yeah.
else? Oh yeah.
Also contributed around 500 times performance boost there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. If you want to reach out in the Slack, I don't know if we've got any specific notebooks projects this year for GSOC. I forget honestly if I have to check. But
Yeah.
we always welcome new contributors, and we're about to release a new version, so that's
Yeah.
great. Anyone else want to say hi? Okay, cool. I'm gonna start kicking off. So, these two things. Okay, so let's skip the top one. We need to just. I think we did that. We're just keeping on this, so we follow up if it has any problems. Has anyone had any problems with the faucet checks lately?
I saw someone report, I forget if it was in Kubeflow platform, or I saw some report somewhere where someone was complaining, kind of what we saw, Matthew, where then checks were just running forever, and then they ended up going into the dashboard and manually kicking it, and that seemed to like
we need to. That's obviously a
unstick
bug.
things.
Yeah, that's obviously what I'm saying is we need to reach out to the vendor. That's what I'm saying. So like, if someone please, next time that happens, please tell me which PR it was, because otherwise we forget which one it was, and then we can actually tell them. It's very hard to raise a ticket without being able to point to an example. And if you
Yeah,
have
so it
multiple,
wasn't a notebooks component this time, but I imagine that it will inevitably happen again.
Yeah.
So yeah, if anybody sees it, feel free to take it to the Slack channel to let us know so we can do a data dump or something to hopefully get traction
so we
to
can
get this
manually
actually
kick it as
fixed.
well. So yeah, we can also, if you see it happen, we can just, anyone with FOSSA access, which I think is anyone who's listed as a maintainer in the CNCF thing, can, which I think Andy and me would be. I don't know
And
if anyone
editor
else.
technically too, but yeah, if you take to just the Kubeflow Notebooks channel, if you feel like you're stuck, then we'll make sure someone gets eyes and hands on it.
Yeah, and if you do as well, that's great, because then we can raise a ticket with the vendor. Okay, cool. And so we're having this discussion previously. Christian, do you want to raise this?
Yeah, so generally, I've been reviewing a few of Andy's PRs in the last week, and in like checking them out, I noticed that some of or also I contributed the KFAM unit tests, and I realized there that we have a few different versions of things in our like universe of dependencies, and one of them is the things that we test against. For example, the version of kubectl and kind. And also the version of Go that we use, the version of Istio that we use to set up the integration tests, and like a lot of different things in that realm. And I thought that maybe the best thing would be to align this with the test target of manifests, or maybe even one newer, so that we're prepared for when they upgrade. But right now, I think we're a little bit all over the place with our dependencies, and I think it might be good to clean that up at some point. But maybe that's not something we are able to do before the release, because quite some components might need bigger changes for that.
Yeah, so in terms of Istio upgrades, we'd also need to update all the Istio libraries. I mean, obviously, it's probably going to work either way, and we need to support the newest version because that's what users are going to use. And I'm surprised you think that Istio has multiple versions being tested. Because like,
did I say that?
Yeah. Did you say that, or did you say? Because okay, I know for a fact kubectl doesn't have any versions pinned anywhere. This is something me and Andy talked about previously, which is that in most of our make files, we automatically download the correct version of customized kind and a bunch of other things, but we actually don't do that for kubectl.
Yeah, but the correct version, I think, for Customize, for example, is also debatable. So we use a vastly older version of Customize, for example.
Yeah. I mean, we depend on version 5. Anyway, the point is, this is a good project. If we're talking about it just in the context of V2, I think it doesn't matter right now, but we should just agree that we should have an intentional one. For V1 and dashboard, there is something to be said about making sure that we support old versions as well as new for these things. So sometimes if the thing itself is forwards compatible, sometimes testing the old one is also good. But anyway, tell me, Andy, what you want to say.
No, the Istio thing is not necessarily a comment from Christian, but that's kind of come up as we had a couple of those busted PRs where people just tried to upgrade virtual service to V1, where actually with the version of libraries we're using, only
V1
whatever
just doesn't
V1
exist. That was just a
beta
hallucination from an AI, I think, my suspicion.
Yeah, so well, I think there is a V1 of virtual service, but it's on like a later version than probably we're deploying.
Maybe there was now. I haven't checked in a long time.
So yeah, anyways, that's why I included Istio on the list here. Is there's some kind of uncertainty there on that as well. So it's not anything we need to like older stuff is what it is. We definitely don't want to crack that open this close to 2603, but I do think in general Christian's asking the right questions, and we should have a general idea.
So minimum is the question here, right? So like that, because what you're saying is like we wouldn't want to go to V1 because it will be automatically converted if we still want to support one that doesn't have it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
right.
So yeah. So I agree. We should agree on it. This is something that I don't want to. Let's not do it right now. But let's.
No. I thought it was a good point. I wanted to get it captured. So yeah, that's totally fine.
Cool.
Okay. I can just keep track of this and raise issues and PRs as we go along.
I think the best way to do it is to make it so that we can test multiple with a grid in the future. You know what I mean? Like that. So for Istio, that's going to be really hard. For Kubernetes, it's going to be pretty easy, but just take time in the builds. kind, I'm not sure is that important. Anyway, so like, yeah, let's come back to this, but that's good observations. Okay. Let's focus on things that like get us closer to a stable release, though. I think security patches on dashboard would be a higher priority than this, in my mind, though, because like, so your pull request. We'll come back to it. Actually, I won't talk about it now. Okay, so Kubeflow 2603. We haven't hit this target, even though we wanted to. Meaning there is effectively we were going to cut a release of the dashboard and then sync it into the manifest repo. That it's pretty much ready. I just didn't want to quite cut it until we'd have got off an incredibly old version of Go, ironically, on the KFAM, which I did finish the PR mostly. I was working on top of Christian's one, which added some unit tests. It was a little bit. I was just going to finalize that with probably today, and then we can cut a release from this and sync it into the manifest. But I don't see any serious issues that will crop up there, which means that we're going to be cutting. We have to be cutting a first RC of everything we want to be in the final release, including Notebooks v2 next week, right? So, is that next week? Yeah, it is. Wait, or is it the week after? Let me just confirm. Yes, that's Tuesday next week. Actually, oh wait, no, it's Monday. Whatever, you know what I mean. Monday next week. So, so in terms of V1 and dashboard, this should happen today. So coming back around to those, so okay, V2 is the more important question then. So for Alpha 0, we'll come back to actually what needs to be done in a second in the other section, but is everyone kind of, well, I guess, let's just go down the list. Anyone got any comments here before we move on in general? Like, we'll talk about specifics of each component and how they'll get to that in a second. But anyone got any general comments? Andy, Christian, Charles, Jenny? Okay, cool. Feel free to raise your hand if you do. Okay, so let's keep skipping over that. So for Kubeflow dashboard, getting the final release, I wrote down a list of blockers in a separate thing. Let me just, actually, no, I didn't. These are still the blockers. Okay, good. So we've done everything. The only one is done. So this is done. We're not going to do this one before the release, so I'm going to move this one after this one. I'm going to move that one after as well. Okay, we do need an upgrade guide, yes. Okay, then strike through here. Okay. So then I just wanted to link his PR so we don't forget about it. Oops, don't want to do that. Oh, I have been to the wrong tab now. That's messy. Okay, so we did refactor these manifests. So for anyone, they're all very different now, but they're much more simple. Just if people want to quickly see, I'll just show on screen. For example, the profile controller is the quintessential example because it's so complex. Every folder now has manifests/customize in the folder. There's these 4 potential base folders: base, components, overlays, samples. Samples are just examples of CRDs and other things. Overlays is the targets that you actually intend to use. Components are optional pieces that you can compose together in your overlays as a user. And we usually have them shown as commented out if they're optional in here or with a note above them. So for example, the one that we kind of got stuck on for a bit was the Prometheus stuff, which we should probably do something similar. It's actually not necessary in Notebooks v2, but it's hard to explain why. But anyway, this is just a great example of, this is the interface that we're providing for end users of the project when they're deploying it. They target this with their customize. They should be able to configure things in here if it's possible using components or patches, so they can add their own patches and things like that. For example, remove namespace in this case, but that's not really relevant. It's more like these two actually. So they can change the labels easily that are added by profile controller and things. So I just wanted to highlight this. If you ever see any, so we're not going to do this for V1 because V1's code is going to be removed in the next release. Not released, but deprecated in the next release and removed in the one after that. So yeah, so I just want to link. Anyone questions about the manifest stuff? I'm just going to link the one that here, which is factor the last blocker on this one was unit tests for KFM plus Golang update. So this one I've got an unpushed commit, Christian, where I've updated the build process so that they all build in like 1 minute now, all the images. Just because I took the same approach as we did in V2 and did only emulate the very final step for build. We build a cross-compiled target for the Go. Anyway, things like that. It's just because it's so much easier. Okay, anything else for V1? Sorry, for V2 of the dashboard. So upgrade guide. What are we actually planning on this? Anyone?
I mean, I have a wiki that I wrote, but it probably needs updated now because of all the manifest changes that we did. So, yeah, I can try to take a look at that next week. So like I said, I had something generally spec'd out, but with all the changes we made,
so the main thing I want to note is that let's tell users to delete all existing dashboard manifests from their repo, but warning, ensure they don't delete the profile CRD. Which may delete their namespaces, right? So like we need to be very careful about that one. But the danger is telling users, there's another warning here, which is warning, using the existing, what do you call it? Manifests, sorry, using the new, there is no easy way to delete the old manifests other than rendering them at the version you installed and deleting and passing them to kubectl delete. Because there's no labels or anything like this in the old ones, unfortunately. So it's because
I mean, we could look into this. They do all have those app labels. If we could write some selector of like, if you have an app label but not one of the labels that we added in this new go round, like the component label. So like has app equals whatever and does not have app.kubernetes.io/component equals new thing. That might work. I just haven't, as I go to refresh the upgrade guide, I'll play around with that.
Yeah, I'm happy to help you look into that because I will have to do this upgrade at some point, and it's good if it's good for everyone, I guess.
Yeah, so I can take a first pass on that early next week, Christian, and then just like tag you, then for you to kind of call BS on what I come up with, if we want to go that way. So I'll just reach out to you early next week and we can coordinate. Thank you.
So it should be just like a series of commands to delete each of those components manifests. Like there should be 4 or 5 of them, right? And then, yeah, okay, cool. Some of them might just actually work overriding, but we should, or actually there's another question is, we should also check which ones will work by just applying over top if any are using the same resource names. But there are some that the other problem is that we've removed some because some were some resources just with lots of resources. I'll just put this note as well. Some resources were being deployed that were never actually used, e.g. roles, role findings. These need to be cleaned up by users. Like there was some that just weren't correctly they were just there for historical weirdness. And so it's just, that's why the approach of just rendering and deleting may be the best approach, just rendering, delete, but exclude CRD, you know what I mean? That's kind of where I'm getting at, but yeah. But we can make a script to do it, probably. Okay, cool. But customize can build from a Git repo anyway, so we can just tell people, point their customize at the Git repo commit of the last version, it's like, anyway.
Yeah, that
Okay.
how we just structured our other deployment guide, where you just parameterize the get ref, point to that thing to do it, might be the best thing. But I'll ruminate on that when I revisit the docs.
Yeah, because I just want to make sure that the manifest working group doesn't do it alone without our help, because there's a lot of caveats that they don't know what we've changed. Okay. Other stuff we'll do later, and Komodos' PR around Gateway API. We'll try and get that in. But again, I don't think it's a big problem if it ends up in a release that's not in the manifest repo, because it's an experimental feature anyway. We're going to mark it as experimental. So just cutting a dashboard 2.1 or something with that feature is probably fine. Okay. Or even just leaving it in main, so you have to use the ref tags or something. Okay, let's keep going. Any other comments about this? Of course, we're going to need to do the post-release stuff, but that can happen after. Okay, V1. So again, the next steps for this are I'm gonna finish this PR with Christian, cut the release for alpha for RC0, and sync it in. Hopefully, we'll get that done today. Shouldn't be too much more work. And then we will finish these last few steps. Okay, so V1 notebooks. Pretty much this one is just stuff in the manifest repo for this first version. Although these update example images I usually do before the final release of the actual final version. Normally we have more than a week, but at this point we have 2 weeks or something, so that's fine. Okay, I won't do this one yet. So what I'm saying is we'll do these two at some point, probably this weekend or today, for V1. Anyone else got anything about V1 that needs to be done? Anyone security patches that haven't come in or anything like that? Okay. Anyone got anything that's problematic they know about V1? So that's all the stuff in the notebooks V1 branch, which is here. Not Kubeflow, whoops. Notebooks. Oh, actually, I just remembered just while I'm thinking, sorry. The other thing I did, by the way, was that I noticed that KFAM was incorrectly not pointing to the correct version of Profile Controller, because KFAM internally depends on Profile Controller. So I use the same approach we use in V2 now, where we point to the local path because they're in the same repo. So previously it was just like hard pinning to a random version in the mod file, in the Go mod file. Now it does a rewrite. And so the build process for that image did have to change quite a bit, but that's fine. I just wanted to say that as well. So because I think there were some bugs I was noticing while testing Profile Controller, or maybe KFAM, that were actually because it had the wrong version of the CRD. Okay, just a side note. Okay, so V1 though, coming back to that. Anything else here? So most of it's around just cutting a release, example images, updating this sync image stuff. But there'll be lots of
Do you have any
security
updates on that whole subdomain isolation thing, Matthew?
Yeah, so that's a separate issue. Since it's a security issue, let's not talk about it in the recording, but like let's we need to figure out what our plan is there with V1, right? If we'll have to see. Yeah, okay. Look, we'll come back to that. I don't think it's gonna make it in for this first release. Maybe for the patch or something like that. Like if we do a 26.1, or if people are willing to contribute it, but we'll have to chase them up on it. It should be okay. Moving on. Anyone else got anything about V1? So we're just gonna cut that release. So it's in the V1 branch. Let me just quickly do a check of any PRs that have label V1. Anyone aware of anything here that's critical?
One thing comes to mind. Wasn't there some discussion about us including Kubeflow SDK or something?
Oh yeah, so that will be in the example images. Assuming it works, like the Python dependencies can be a bit of a mess, but the yeah,
But okay, so this is not about actual V1, but just about the example image included in that.
Yeah, so we're gonna cut on the first version of 1.11's example images won't have any changes, like the RC0, because I normally do them a bit closer to the release. Normally there's a much longer release cycle, so things like PyTorch might get updated in that time. But so I usually try and go for the latest not commonly adopted version of each of these libraries when I cut the release. We may actually also, we won't be able to do it in this one. Actually, I just realized this as well. So I would love to have been adding Jupyter collaboration to our default Jupyter image as well, or at least to the higher, the biggest one. Mainly, we can't do that because Istio has problems with it. So it's probably gonna have to be a V2 exclusive feature, which is kind of cool because that's kind of a fun feature to have in V2, and I think we can integrate with it quite well. The problem is quite complex if people want to know. It's about web HTTP3 and connect update requests, like WebSocket openings. Istio kind of mangles them and routes them in the wrong places. Okay, so multiple people start connecting through the same socket. It's just a mess, honestly. But it's fixable. It's just very complex without changes to the controller. Okay, moving on. Notebooks V2. Now this is the most important part, or I'll leave one more chance for anyone to say about V1. So yes, we will include the SDK, probably, as long as it works. Did they cut this release? Okay. No, not yet. So we want them to cut the 0.4 release as well. Okay, cool. So, is anyone ready to do a demo? If not, then I don't know if anything's changed. I know we did some demos last time and in a separate meeting as well. Hey, Christian, yep.
I would be ready, but only if we want to do it.
Yeah, I don't think we need to do it right now because we've done the demo with the front-end developers previously. So let's just kind of go down to, let's agree on, so again, the goal of the demo, I'll just quickly say that why we do it. The thing we're trying to do is make it so that users get a feeling of what this is about, why we've done this, what are we building, why is this better, why is it going to be worth updating to, contributing, these things. It's easy to forget that most people haven't seen it before, really. And so for a lot of people, even this will be the first time they see it, the first time they're exposed to the idea of a workspace kind, being able to update your workspaces, even if all the UIs can be improved and other things. The goal is that we kind of show how stuff works. And so some of the key amazing improvements are stuff like being able to change the image of a workspace without deleting it, a notebook without deleting it, changing the pod config even, meaning the type of requests, like how many CPUs and GPUs, being able to have the admin indicate to users that they want to deprecate a specific image and redirect. And so these things are going to be shown, and so it's about selling the story, not about making a usable product right now. Although it will be somewhat usable. So, yeah. So, effectively, the core flows we want the user to be able to do is create a workspace kind, or the 3 samples, create some workspaces using one of them, get to the point where they have one running in the list, be able to see ones that have pending redirects, connect to them, which obviously it requires the auth and Istio stuff to work, which I think right now is turned off, which is what we'll come back to. So, and then also be able to do an update of an image config option. And so that's almost all there. There was just some UI changes that needed to be done. So we wrote down a huge list of those things, but we'll come back to that. So, is there anything else that people really want to see in the demo that we're forgetting here? I don't think there is, right? Or just things we want to highlight or note about. Okay, if anyone has any ideas, keep going. So this list is, so for the front end people, let me just copy and I can just copy these notes from another thing, but so like these ones here were the priorities that we identified for the front end. What is the status on these ones? So like these overall blockers we have to fix as well. But I just want to quickly go through Kyle's and Jenny and others. I know we talked about this on Tuesday, but so this one is something that we need to do, which is having a link for the pre-GA page. But Christian, you're working on that. We'll skip that for now. Unless you want to talk about that, Jenny.
No, that's right. Yeah, that warning banner that has been enabled. So yeah, just a link that's needed now. Yep.
Cool. Okay, we'll come back to that in a second. So for these ones, there's just a bug in the in the front end, which sorry, it's the back end, which makes this really hard. So we were just gonna update the back end with a very basic change here to send the front end the list of details and descriptions rather than having the front end have to do a join, which is just messy on the workspace kind. So effectively updating the back end. And so this is pretty simple, right? Which is just adding a new column to the root workspace table. I think Charles or Polo, were you working on this one for the pod?
Yeah, I'm starting to working on this.
Cool.
And
Awesome.
I synced with Paulo. I anticipate having the back end stuff ready tomorrow. So we'll make sure we collab to get that verified end to end.
Cool. So yeah, this Swagger update, is that necessary for you to do this? I mean, it's not necessary. Oh, it's necessary for this part, actually. So,
Right.
Yeah. So pretty much we're just saying we're changing the get workspace or list workspace API to be slightly better. Okay, and so there'll be a column for the currently selected workspace and image config. And the reason pod config and image config. And again, that's because we're trying to show that that's a feature, and then you can redirect both of them if you want. And so we're gonna just make it very simple right now. Okay, anyone else got any comments about this priority, which is about just correctly showing the pod and image configs and redirects? Okay, priority 2. So this one's about making sure that all of this is deceptively large, but this is making sure that when you're creating or updating a workspace, you can see that the UI is correct and shows it's kind of wrong right now, right? Where we need to show home volumes and data volumes separately and make them more clean. So what's the status on these ones? So I know there's a backend API.
There's a stop API that Andy worked on, and I'm using this to create to work on the front end task right now, and focusing on the mounting part, and how to group information and display information. It should look a little bit similar to the secrets mount, but with some key differences. We want to group stuff based on access modes and whatnot.
And so from a UI perspective, are you treating home volume and data as separate sections on the list? In that PR, will that change that as well? Cool.
Yes, yeah. I will create one more to do the separate to separate home volume as a different section as well, just to make sure things don't collide.
So when you say that, how are you doing it not in the same PR?
I don't know yet, but we're focusing on the task at the moment, like mounting the existing PVC at the moment right now.
But isn't that the same as what home volume is? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Sure, I can do that, but yes.
Like it's just like use the exact same thing. That's what I'm just trying to understand how it would even be possible to not do in the same PR.
In my opinion, the home volume in general, I want to keep it separate so that like we can keep the unique keys and all that, just so that like you can't select one the same volume for both data and home, and that in my mind is just separate to me.
You actually can select the same volume.
Should you? Is that true?
There's no strict reason why you shouldn't be able to, if you know what I mean. Like there's like it's just the code allows it.
Okay, if that's the case, then I can definitely include it in the same PR.
Yeah, because it's like effectively because the main reason I wanted to include it in the same PR was not because it's just because in my mind they're literally the same code path, just copy and paste where the first section of like you're on the page where you're selecting volumes and secrets. There should be like 3 sections, like home volumes, data volumes, and secrets. And then the top one is just the same as the second one, but only allowing you to mount one.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of what I'm saying. And so does it allow you to create the PVC inline as well, my question?
I haven't gotten to the create part yet.
Okay. But it's going to be it is going to be allowing you to create them.
It should, yes. I want to separate that create into just different PR because
That's fine, yeah, because that's quite a lot of
the
API
attach is
calls.
kind of large one. Yeah, I don't want one single one to encapsulate everything.
And actually, from like a shipping alpha perspective, while it's not great, having only attach would be enough. You know what I mean? Like that is, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, my goal is to aim for both, but yes, noted.
Yeah. Andy?
Oh, I just wanted to highlight, sorry, Charles, you refer like that PVC PR is not a stub. That is everything. So that's like full behavior. There's no stubbing there, just
You can
so
test
you're
it.
aware.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That I can use to do something with it then. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yes.
And because that's important actually from a we haven't reviewed it yet, so there might be changes not to the API but to the behavior, but the there might be bugs, is what I'm trying to say.
So yeah, so if you find weird stuff, it didn't feel like mocking and stubbing this. It's too complicated. So I just implemented everything so you can actually like dog food this as you're building things. But do reach out if you like, run into issues. I've like API tested it through like my Bruno app. But you actually making it usable is a much better test.
Okay, yeah, definitely gonna do that. I am right now using the mock objects, but I can switch it to whenever the code looks a little more ready. It's just a little messy at the moment.
So in terms of your mock, are you mocking the same stubbed API though, the structure?
Yeah,
the ones that are
I'm mocking
generated,
a similar, yeah.
And my question is also, how are you handling storage class like selection? I guess we did that in we gave you the design, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I got a good. How am I mocking? What do you mean? How am I mocking the
Did we
storage
send
class?
the mocking? What I'm saying is, how are
There
you?
is there is a structure. There's a type that I use to model after. Yeah.
Did we send Andy? Did we show him the like? I feel like we had this like display name description thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Awesome. And actually, that reminds me, we probably need to tell in the example people to annotate their description. So actually, from a front end perspective, we might need to highlight when there is no description, that an admin could add one. I don't know, right? We could have the placeholder text be description is not set, admin can set. I don't know, or something stupid right now. Cool. The backend probably could do that as well. Okay, actually, maybe the backend should actually do that, thinking about it. Okay, so maybe just treat it as the description is the description. Okay, cool. Okay, let's, Andy, is that something you agree or disagree with on the backend API for that?
We can cross that bridge when we get there. I think getting it plumbed in, and then like I said, I had told Charles, like just as long as we're showing those fields, if they're empty right now and it looks weird, we can iterate on that later, but just making sure they're there and it doesn't blow up if those values are empty is the thing. The other thing that is a little bit unsure, I had just said to like style based on that can use attribute we returned, but don't like preclude or prevent anything right now, right? I don't know how hard of a lock we want that can use attribute to be on storage classes. So as long as we're using it, if can use is false, maybe we just italicize it. I don't care, but have that drive some sort of behavior. And again, we can iterate in the future on how much we want to lock that down. But someone installing this for the
will reject can use false, definitely. The backend has to reject, right?
But like every storage, so we're going to make people to use notebooks. We're going to make people go in and annotate all their storage classes.
I think so. Like,
okay, so that logic isn't in the back end, because I feel like that's kind of different than us, like, for some of those other can mount, can use. Oh no, I guess we do block those. So okay. I'll fix that in the back end. But I think that's a like implementation hurdle to make people go do this. So I don't know if like we want
so
default.
Treat the can use as if it works. Again, treat it the front end should just assume that the back end is doing what it needs to do, even if it doesn't right now. But it is sending it to you. So if it says can use false, don't show it to them at all, right? Or not, like maybe do show it to them, but like put it in a section which says your admin has to allow it. That's actually something that we talked about, right? Which I don't understand how we should do that from a UI perspective, where the whole idea is we want to tell users this is here, but your admin isn't letting you use it right now. If you want to, then please use it. Ask them to use it. Okay, this is fine. Okay, let's keep going. So anything else about getting, and secrets. Okay, more actually, anyone talk about PVCs first? Storage class PVCs, anyone else about that?
Can you just add a note here, Matthew, so remember, like, backend needs to enforce can use? It's just on storage class, but
Oh, is it? As PVC also has it, right? On a can mount is what it is on that. Sorry.
right.
Do we already enforce can mount?
I would have to check. I don't think I'm other than including them in bodies, I don't think I have business logic for that, but I can circle back around.
Yeah, because we probably, if we're gonna do that, we probably should build a common function just to check, like effectively a filter, an array filterer kind of situation, you know? Okay, cool. But we still, but should always show all of them effectively. But all should be sent to the front end, even if not able to be used. So front end can highlight to user to ask admin to change. Like that's kind of what I'm trying to say. Okay, for both storage class and PVC, because it's like a user could be very confused. Like I created this PVC, why is it not allowed to be used? Because they also might be allowed to change it themselves. They are sufficiently permissioned. Okay. Any other comments about PVC storage class? Because this one's the most critical. Because like that one's in the critical path of if you can't mount a home volume, then you can't use notebooks, really. Okay. So anything else? Okay, so secrets. What's happening with the secrets? So this in the same section where you're mounting or creating or updating secrets.
I think Jenny's raised a PR on the secret stuff, but I don't want to throw her under the bus in case I'm misremembering.
That's right. I thought Charles did so I mean, yeah, I have a PR that's currently up in review for, I believe that secret mounting step. And then, yeah, just a few other UI issues. And I hear that this is like a priority for the 26.03 release.
It's
Is that
slightly
right?
lower priority than the PVC stuff, but it is, secret mounting is updating in there as well on.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, okay. So if you got a PR open, I'll just link it. But what API?
I put the PR in the chat, but yeah, 922.
I guess it's just based off the stub API. So this comes back to this. So that's that's true for back. So this it is blocked currently by these things. So effectively, we do need to have a PR that just updates the secrets API to call the Kube API. That was, I think we talked about that last time. But that's pretty simple. I think it's just one liner.
Well, the discussion there was we really wanted to get the logos and icons one merge so we have an established pattern on some of these like partial caches and whatnot. So that was the real thing.
Oh, no, that's fine. This is more like, yeah.
Any mistake I made in logos and icons is going to be replicated into secrets on getting the partial caches and set up correctly. So logos and icons is ready to be reviewed. If we feel good about those patterns, then I'll apply that to secrets as well.
Okay, so cool. Any comments you want to make about this one, Jenny? Sorry, I cut you off.
No, yeah, just currently wrangling with some of the tests, but yeah, hopefully we can get this merged by the end of the week if we want to include it in 26.03. That's the goal here.
Cool. How likely do you think we are to hit this? So we can raise, we will be able to probably, because it's notebooks v2, like get the thing we need to get in before Monday is the first cut of the manifests, which may or may not have some things that cause us problems, but into the manifest repo. But we should be able to update the container image because no actual code should change. You know what I mean? It's mainly just updating the. Probably what'll happen is we'll cut the release branch, or we will have to cut a release branch, yeah, and then cherry pick this PR in if it gets in time, effectively, right? So is this quite modular? I assume it doesn't kind of, if say for example, Charles's one will have to get in, right? The PVC one. If that gets merged, will this break or not?
It shouldn't. Yeah, they should be independent from each other.
Cool. Awesome. Well, it's very exciting. So I see you've kind of got most of it. Anything that might stop this one being ready?
I don't think so. Just, yeah, it's just reviews, I think, at this point and just fixing up the tests, but it's very close. So, yep.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Anyone else got a comment about this one? So this is about getting.
Yeah, I'll give another round of review on that one. And just to clarify, Matthew, so we that are working on those priorities we are talking about, if the PR doesn't get in until Friday, tomorrow, we should open a cherry pick PR to the release branch
Oh no, I'll
from
cherry
Monday
pick the.
on.
No. I can do cherry picks. It's you need write
Okay.
access to them. Yeah.
Okay.
But I won't do that.
So I
straight
should
away.
let you know about the commits.
Yeah. Well, I'll
Okay.
work under the assumption. So yeah, once we cut the first. So I think in terms of getting the manifest, so we'll come back to that. What's blocking the manifest cut once we come past the front end section. But so yeah, effectively my priority one in this. So it's above this. Like so, the top priorities are these in this order, but it is also getting the PVC one in first, which I know Jenny isn't working on, so that's fine. Continue working on the secrets. But yeah, like it's like this one is like functionality blocking, whereas this is new functionality, which is great to demo because people haven't seen this before. But yeah, and so it does also affect the wait, does the secrets also have can mount as well? Andy, I think they do, right?
Yes.
How are you handling that?
I mean, there's no functional implementation for secrets. It's purely stubs. So there's
No, I mean like in the front end. So
oh,
when
sorry.
a secret is in the list, yeah.
I think so. This one, I think I just don't have a screenshot for it, but there's a little like there's a couple of labels that show up for an immutable secret, I believe, for one of them that shows can mount and can attach, but they're not in these views.
Does it prevent you trying to attach it if it says can attach false?
Yes,
It only shows
it
up
does.
on the.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it does
go ahead.
in the list, in the drop down
Is it
for
grayed
the
out?
select. It would show, it would grayed out, and it would still show. It's still showing, but it will gray out the option
Is there
and
like a
disable the
little
option as well.
explanation, you know? Is there like little explanation that says, hey, this is
Yeah, there is a label we put as I put it as unmountable or something like that. Yeah.
and if you wave over it, does it tell you what that means or not yet?
I mean, unmountable isn't
I mean,
that
sure. I mean,
pretty
yeah, because
explanatory.
my worry is that like we should tell. So what I say, same as for the PVCs though. I just want to highlight to the user why. You know what I mean? Like it's just
We don't have any description why yet, right? Like why it is unmountable.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. The front end needs to provide that to the user. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, it's and it should be the same text effectively for PVC and.
I can include it, but right now that sounds like a lower priority task for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one is very unlikely to show up in people's demo usage anyway. But it's because the only question I have is then from like a selector perspective, you're just sorting them alphabetically, I guess, when you're in this dropdown.
Right now, yes.
I wonder if in the future we should have a separate section for these ones. You know what I mean? That's just all I'm just wondering from a UI.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. I was thinking of doing it, and if just like making all the unmountable or like can mount false be in the bottom, but I didn't get there. We can create an issue for it.
Yeah, as long as they're grayed out right now, that's good. That's sufficient. And to be clear, did you do the same thing, Charles? Are you copying this paradigm where you gray out the?
Yeah.
And also you're using the same. Also, I'm seeing this here, right? So this is the approach that we talked about, where the secret path, when you select it, presumably populates with the name here. Does it show you the name immediately?
I did something similar for PVC as well, but yeah.
And so I just want to qualify that it's very intentional here that this seems a little bit strange to me, right? So like this should be slightly grayed out in my mind before the user has clicked it to decouple it, right? Effectively, while it's in its default state, it's like a template, right? Where it's as soon as if I keep spam changing the selected secret, the path should just keep updating to whatever the current name is. And then as soon as I've done a disconnect by clicking edit, you know, or by clicking into this mount path and typing my own mount path, you know, or something, right? Then from that point forward, changing the secret shouldn't change the template. But so then what should happen is there should be, and this should be the same for PVC, and I kind of think this is pretty important, which is you click it one time, and then the icon should change to revert or something like, you know, back, which goes to, returns it to a template state, right? So effectively, it should only be clickable in this section. It should be grayed out here so it's clear that it's not clickable, or some, you know, the overall input field should be non-interactable until you click this button. As soon as it becomes interactable, it's decoupled from the template. I also think another thing, Jenny, is that maybe we should make this have curly bracket secret name here while there's no secret selected, just so that users can understand what's going on. You know what I mean? That's a debate for the front end people. Do anyone have a?
But is this something that we already want to ship as part of the alpha demo?
I think it should be pretty. It depends on how hard people front end people push back if you think it's hard. But the only feature that has to be in is the template default value aside, whatever, is this should be clearly not interactable until you click this button to disconnect the template, and then the button should flip back, assuming it doesn't already. I have to check if it. I don't know if it does already. Tell me if it does. To be.
It does. Yeah. There's like so that's fine. I can add like a disabled class to that. I think this MUI doesn't have, I think it was requested it to be read only. MUI doesn't have read only. It has disabled, which implies like something different to the user, but we can make it disabled if that's what you think
does that break the form submission though?
It doesn't. It should just be the style on that field. So that should be fine. I think if that's the only thing here, then yeah, we can definitely push that through. But yeah, I guess as far as anything else, I probably would push back on that because this is a big PR as is, and it's going to take some more effort to review everything as well.
One quick check though is like, just for my own sanity, does when you click undisable, if you know what I mean, like when you click this button to make it not disable, does the button then also have a way of returning it back to being a template? Does the form, you know what I mean?
Oh yes, yep. There's a check and then an X button when you click on that pencil, so you can go back to that.
Then when you go that, it would re-disable it from our perspective and turn it back to a template. Amazing. So because that's such a core paradigm where this is very because I want to set the standard from this point in the beginning of Notebooks v2 that secrets are usually mounted under /secrets and PVCs are usually mounted under /data, right? Or what is it actually, Charles? What do we use as the default for PVC?
Right now it is /data for the data volumes. I haven't heard anything about the home volumes, so I haven't set
home is hard coded by the workspace kind, so you don't need to worry about that one. You can't even set that one. The front end literally cannot set that one. So
great.
Don't even worry about that. So that's another thing as well. Your attach drop down is actually different. Now I understand what you were saying, Charles. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So I guess you could just actually, this is something you could do then. You could just pre-populate this with, and again, tell me if you want to do it in a different PR, but you could just pre-populate, you could use the exact same thing. I think for not your one, like this one, but you know, for PVC, and just pre-populate this with the workspace kinds home, right? I think we do send that to you, right?
I think so.
Yeah. If not, then that's very easy to make the backend like a one-liner change. So
well, you choose the workspace kind as you work through the wizard, right? So that should be in scope or context somewhere.
What I'm saying is, I think, yeah, exactly. What I'm saying, when the get workspace kind, which is necessary for the create workspace. So what I was saying, Charles, is I think you can use not this UI, obviously the PVC version of it, but just have no option to change it here. You know what I mean? Like, and then you can use the exact same. Amazing, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they don't have, because yeah. So just be very clear, you cannot change the home volume mount path. It's not allowed, right? Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. So that means the UI would have to handle that.
Don't worry. It probably should be. It should be fairly easy to pass down the home path to the component. But yeah, I'll handle that.
I just want to check. Someone should check in the background if we are sending the home mount path through the workspace kind list API right now. And if not, then let's move on to the last one. I know we're at 9 a.m. so people might have to go. Okay, so we're done on this section. We're going to go like another 15 minutes of people able to stay. Then only one last part about the front end that really we want to get in before 2603 is some of these changes, which are actually quite simple from a UI perspective. I think, Paulo, you were working on this. So effectively, we're just removing the left-hand side summary of the properties step, which is kind of weird. Having the option filters in the pod config and image config selection, like shopping cart view, like Amazon view. How are these coming along?
That was merged today, this filter.
Amazing. So these ones have already been merged.
Except
this
the
one?
stretchable.
Right.
No, the rest, not yet.
Okay. Okay, cool. Hopefully that's all good. Then this one we haven't done, obviously. This backend default. Yeah, so I'm assuming we didn't do this one. This one's not as critical, but
no, not yet.
I'm going to move this one to the bottom. Okay, so this one. So visual separation between hidden and redirect. Okay, this one is pretty important. So have we this one, or is that part of this option one?
No, this is not done yet. None of the others, just the filters so far.
Cool. So this one's about this section where you're selecting pod config and image config. Right now, we just don't have any indication that an option is actually hidden or redirected, even though the front end is told about it. So that's just making sure that that's the case. And then the last one is when you're again, choosing an image config mainly in an update view, there should be two sections on the right, one which shows the current one that's currently live on the cluster, and one which is the one that you're selecting from the current UI. Okay, Andy, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, sorry, going back to a prior point, I was just getting stuff set up in the background. We do return volume mount home in the Get Workspace Kind API, so that is available in the API. I'll send a picture to Charles.
Cool.
Yeah, the awesome. Default image is also returned by the API.
Yeah, that one is already done. Yeah, this is just like, this one's more of a lower priority, but if we're talking about top priorities, I would say these ones have to be done for 2603. Again, they don't have to be done before Monday. It would be nice if they were, but I'm just saying that before a week after Monday or 2 weeks after Monday. Well, maybe a week, so we can, the next time we meet, maybe the week after.
Yeah, I plan to work on the priority 1, I think, about the redirect columns, and then the priority 3 all until next week. Hopefully should be merged.
Amazing. Thanks everyone for your effort here. So yeah, this one is about just making sure that we show some of the information that the API is returning to the front end and help the user, because this one is critical to the story. Like this one is critical to the story because of the same reasons we talked about, but just at a root level. But during the create and update flow, this one is absolutely critical for people to understand the value of notebooks. Because if they're V2, because if they don't understand this, we're losing out on such a great story, which is we have redirects, right? And the default example workspace kinds have redirects in them, right? So so this one is, I think we talked about, blocked by oh no, this one's only blocked by well, actually, this last one would technically also be blocked by this, right? This change here. Sorry. So as long as this one gets in, the other one becomes unblocked. So what's our status on getting this one in, Andy? I forgot what we were saying.
Sorry, for which one?
Updating just because I can spam this one in today, if not, tomorrow.
I mean, we have more. If you have time today, we have existing PRs that need merged. I will get this open on Friday. I will get this open tomorrow. But let's take the stuff that is already raised that needs merged and get that merged.
Yeah. Because this one is obviously blocking two critical things. But yeah. Okay, cool. I do want to talk about the manifest stuff as well, but we'll come back to that. Cutting the release, but. So this one does feel like it's blocking a lot of things though, because it's blocking both that priority 1 and priority this one here, which I view as critical to the sales pitch, right? Because this one's
we can review that asynchronously. Getting the PVC and update
that's blocking. And yeah, that's also important because that's blocking this one.
Right. This one's actually if we get PVC and update workspace in, then I'll pivot to implement that other thing today.
Well,
but
there is a debate around the PVC one where right now the people aren't blocked because it does exist, right? You know what I mean? The PR branch does exist. Is there any particular reason, like the one that's actually blocking people is that if we got a stub, or this one could just be merged in almost immediately, you know what I mean? But whereas this, that's my only slight concern. Getting in this, yeah.
I hear you. Stuff is ready and PRs are backing up. So I think if we can get something in, we should get it in. We have PRs raging back to July right now that haven't gotten merged in. So we got to,
I'm just wondering if we should raise this PR or merge it in. Anyway, okay, coming back. This one here. Anything else on this one, Paula? Like getting this, once we have this API updated, getting the sidebar in? Have we got someone assigned?
Yeah, probably the whole priority tree I'll be working on next week.
Okay, is it only you, or are you indeed help from other people?
So far, it's only me. I mean, if people get free, I can divide the work, but for now, that's me.
Because I'm wondering, yeah, if people, yeah, because like this one especially, I just view this one as absolutely critical, right? So as soon as, like, I view it, honestly, I know it's weirdly ordered, but it might actually be more important than the Secrets API. Secrets API is really cool, and I do want it in, but I think even in its current state, once it's kind of done, it might be enough. But, we'll see. Okay. This one's just important because it's part of when we do a video recording of the demo for people, this one's like critical that they see it, which is, what does it really mean? I don't know. This is interesting. They're all important. Okay. Any other comments about this priority 3? And I'm not going to talk about these ones. These ones are just like logos and icons and other things, which are important, but they don't block a release. Okay. So we're quite a bit over time. To quickly summarize what's blocking the actual cutting of a release. Because again, this is now separate. So front end changes and back end changes are critical to actually the demo, but they're not blocking the release of the manifest, which is blocking us from actually potentially shipping at all, right? Okay, so auth is not enabled by default right now. Do we have any updates on this or not? I don't think so. I think this is just needs to be a flag that's enabled. So that's fine. This one I also noticed, while the backend and front end are fine, while we were redoing the profile controller manifest, I noticed that we really, for our own sanity and not having to tell people something very confusing when we release Alpha 2, we should rename some of our, like the deployment literally is called controller manager, which is too generic. It doesn't say workspaces in it anywhere. We need to just prefix it we need to just prefix all of our things with the word workspaces effectively. And so that one's critical to cut the release. This one is really me and Andy's job, but I just wanted to say that. Okay. And we already have this manifest banner. So Christian, did you work on that? Did you have some kind of?
So what I started to work on is little bit of a feature overview of like what is currently ready and not ready as part of the workflow workspaces or notebooks version 2. But so far I only did like a kind of a stopped implementation, a README with just a little bit of an overview of which features are there in, and I would like to have some feedback on how granular or not we want to have this. But yeah, just feel free to comment on the pull request.
So we need to get a page up somewhere just with the most minimal information possible initially so that we can update the link in this to the preview.
Yeah, so my plan currently was to add a redirect from the website to the Notebooks v2 repo.
Okay, so we just need to create a wiki page somewhere then.
Why a wiki page?
Or just whoever. You mean you want to do it in a README?
Yeah, I mean, currently I'm doing a features.md is the name, but.
Interesting. Okay, we can debate where it is in it later, but that's.
So the whole thing was a little bit inspired by the SDK, which does like currently supported subprojects in the Kubeflow universe. And so I thought something similar to that is maybe what we want to have. But yeah, there are some details to it. Some are gnarly and really like deep into the weeds. We don't need to talk about it right now. Also, because I think the gist that we spoke about last week is that it's important for us to get like the manifest stuff done, and then we can do like the documentation and links and all of that later on.
What I'm wondering is it possible that we just put something which is, we don't go too into the weeds, we literally just have a wiki page which says almost nothing to begin with, right? I can just make it right now effectively, and then we can update the link to the redirect to this one, right? And then just what's the minimum we could put here right now so that it has some information from the warning banner. That's kind of what I'm like. We can make it better over time. And the only reason I'm thinking wiki page is because files that are in the repo then become requirements to update while we're working, and that just seems very painful, right? Like, and it's like, it's versioned then. If it's in the repo, it's versioned. Whereas I want the latest version to be the only one that's correct in this one. I don't want pull requests to be necessary.
Yeah, but can't we just link to the main branch, or like the
But then we have
Notebooks
to do pull
V2 branch
requests
then?
to update the content.
Yeah, but it's in the sense correct that every time when a feature gets updated, we can also update the
that
pull
just seems
request.
like a
And
burden I don't want to put on people, is what I'm trying to say. Also,
yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
We can work out if it's a markdown, we can place it somewhere.
Yeah, this is markdownable as well, I think, but yeah. Anyway, so my priority for that is, let's just try and get whatever you think the minimum information the user needs from a warning banner in, even if it's one sentence, which is saying Notebooks V2 is like the identical comment to this, right? Which is Notebooks V2 is not released. Like, nothing is ready, right? Like, even if it literally just says this right now.
Yeah, this is already in. And then I have like a little bit more detailed overview of the features that users may want to know about.
So do you want me to create the wiki page, give you access? Or maybe do you want to create a version of what you're doing on a fork, on a wiki page? And then once we're just almost immediately, once we're happy with it, like, make it really small and make a new version of the page that you've got your bigger details in, but then keep the base one that we'll just copy and paste onto the main repo almost immediately. And then we can go update the website and then update the pre-GA priorities one.
Okay.
Because this, otherwise we're just not going to have something in and it's going to be not going to land. So keep doing what you're doing for the future one, but like, just please, like, just if you just point me link me whenever it's done, the minimum, even if it's one sentence that just says like alpha 0 is pretend that alpha 0 exists, and then assume that in the future this page will always be having information about every previously released version. So if it's a table, as we add new versions as rows to the thing or to the table or something, I don't know how it will be structured. But alpha 0, assume it exists in the context of this though. Okay. And in terms of cutting the release, once those things are cutting the release, I do think we need to get, because I think that does block cutting the release. You see, because the warning banner needs to be in and existing for that final V2 release to be cut, the manifest, even if we cut the current state as alpha 0.
Yeah, I have some input on that, but I don't think it's like something we should discuss now.
Okay, so cool. Backend APIs that must do something. So yeah, so those ones we already talked about, and the other ones, which are update workspace, we just need to spam in a connection to the Kubernetes cluster, because right now we just kind of stub it, but it's just, we don't need to fully do it. We've got most of the code there, just one that does an update and fails under any edge case.
There, and like I said, there's a PR raised for those first two.
Yep. And then once these 3 things are done, 4 things, we need to cut the V2 alpha 0 tag and branch, which is exciting because it's the first time someone will be able to theoretically install the project. I have just a feeling that we're going to end up cutting alpha 0, 1, 2, 3 in quick succession. So just be ready for that. So your page might need to handle that as well. Okay. And then update the sync scripts. And then all these other ones are, oh yeah, the sample one as well. Actually, is that one, should we move that one above? That's pretty much done already. So we can probably move that one up here. Okay. And then, okay, we can remove that because that's already I've talked about above. That one is also talked about above. Yep, that's also talked about above. That's not needed to talk about right now. Okay, and the slug feature we talked about later as well, which this up here was the logos and icons, right? Oh, that's there. It's already there. Yep. Cool. Okay, cool. Perfect. Okay, anyone else about things about this? Anyone else got anything that, I know we're way over time now. Thanks everyone so much. We'll probably stay on and spam through some reviews, but anyone else got anything they need to raise or worries about stuff? We're getting close to this release. Anyone? Thank you for your work, everyone. Very exciting. Anyone have anything they want to say? Okay. We'll probably, the first priority, we'll figure out what that is for the reviews, but we'll stop the recording for now. Thanks.